That's the main thing. It's a tough one. The Knicks have been playing pretty good basketball as of late, and we haven't been as good as we want to. I'm sorry. We got to win, so that's the only thing that matters.
Dwight, there was a lot more aggressiveness out of you guys on defense, especially in the first and fourth quarter. Were there any changes made in the couple of days since the Thunder
just
game?
Communication. Okay. We've been doing a better job of talking to each other. Guys are starting to trust that somebody's going to be behind them, stuff like that. So it's all about trust and communication.
Brooks said that he really likes how you smile during the game.
I was smiling because I was saying, dang, I can't get off the ground tonight. And I told him that he called a play for me to catch a lob, and I was like, Coach, my leg's not there yet. So I just had to keep smiling my way through it. And I'm just happy to be back on the floor. I'm happy we got a good win today. We needed something to break the ice, and tonight was good for us to do that. And I think from here on out, we know how we got to play. We got to communicate on defense. We got to stay positive and stay locked in on what our mission is, and that's to win a championship. And we dug ourselves a little hole by coming out a little slow. We got an opportunity to make it up. My back was never the problem. You got to pay attention.
It was tied.
You're talking about the communication on the defensive end.
Hold up.
It was tied relatively early in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You guys were able to get on a good run. What turned for you guys?
Our communication on defense picked up. We had a little bit more energy, and it ran a couple plays that we didn't stop early, and that we had to do a better job of communicating those plays out. And that was a timeout where we really talked about how we're going to defend. And then after that, it was lights out for us.
You already talked about a little bit about the communicating on defense.
Correct.
How do you feel the other guys are getting comfortable with you being back there now?
Like I said, the only way we can do it is staying positive and communicating. And my job is to continue to talk, continue to let guys know that they can trust that I'm going to be behind them, making plays, and we just go from there.
How do you make sure that? What do you think of Mitchell Robinson?
I wish I had my legs tonight to jump up there with him. There was a couple times when he was jumping, I was like, yeah, I'm not there yet. So just let him have it. But I like his energy, his effort. I never heard of him until before the game. So the first shot he blocked it, and I was like, oh dang, okay. And after that, I was like, okay, I kind of like this young kid, But he's got a lot of potential, and they use him the right way. We just got to keep his head, continue to stay strong. But I think he has a lot of potential.
How do you make sure the progress you guys made defensively
doesn't go backwards?
Yeah, how do you make sure it carries over?
That's a good question. What would you do?
Well, I'm curious because last year they had trouble stringing wins.
Oh,
like
last
together.
year. That was last year.
You weren't here.
Yeah, okay. So I think we should just continue to communicate with each other and understand that whatever happened in the past, we got to leave it there. And each day we got to come into the gym and say we're going to get better at communicating. And it starts in practice. I think after the OKC game, when we had practice the next day, we were very vocal in practice, talking and communicating with each other on every single play. And that carries over to the game. So that's what we got to continue to do. And, it's something that it takes time, but if we do it every day, we start to get comfortable with it, and now it's like second nature.
First person we're going to say with Jesus Christ. I don't know what sparked it, but that's what we needed. Definitely our best defensive game of the year. Keeping the team under 100 points, playing together. Granted, the fourth quarter they went on the last run, but they did a good job of getting stops down the stretch when we needed to.
Was there something that wasn't obvious? That was different?
Probably just the effort. I think it was put together for the whole 48 minutes for the first time. I think games past, we'll play a good first half or a good second half, or we'll just play the whole game and trying to come back from being down with such large deficits. So it was good to be on the other side of it this time. able to get after it. But I'm not sure what sparked it, but we need that type of intensity every night.
The block on Mitchell Robinson in the fourth quarter stopped for a second.
Probably traveled too.
Almost traveled. Was that because of the moment or because you blocked, or who you blocked? The second quarter.
A little bit of both. It's just a big play and just enjoying a little bit the game throughout the game. So, what better way to shut them up and getting blocked. So, I wasn't thinking more of it. I was just being emotional. Big play. Got it in the call for a try. 4 foul.
Brett Scott talked specifically about your guys' three-point defense tonight, the way you were closing out on shooters and kind of keeping guys from getting off good shots. What allowed you in that specific aspect of the defense? What allowed you guys as a team to be successful there?
We accepted the challenge, I think, individually and as a team. We understand that they got so many guards over there that can put it on the floor, can score in a variety of ways, and we got to be able to accept the challenge. Coach Fizz is going to look at you and see who guys can go at, and he's going to send his dogs out there to do it. So, it was a challenge for us, for everybody. We got back to our concepts, played our style. We're physical, active, and forced a lot of turnovers.
Last game, you guys talked a lot about communication and coming together. Do you feel like that happened today?
Yeah, I think it was a lot better from everybody, from the guys on the floor and the guys on the bench. Everybody was active and threw us into the game, locked in the game. And, we need that. We were very focused yesterday in practice, and today coming into the game, we were very focused. So, we need this type of mentality, this attitude, and everything moving forward.
Good evening, everybody. It's another week. It's the Focus TV. Joined by Miss Octavia Wyatt, Wilson Tarpe Jr. Cardell is not here tonight. He'll be back next week. So we look forward to hearing from him about his absence. Oh, there's so much to talk about.
Oh, gosh.
I see my Octavia's sticker and my sticker. Yeah, we voted. Just want to make sure,
Make sure y'all vote.
Hope y'all did yours as well. So, listening to Dwight Howard and Bradley Beal. We'll talk about Wizards in just literally a few seconds. But on tonight's show, as always, we got Octavia's NFL segment, the NFC East. Talk about that. There's so much wonderful drama in that division every
It's
week.
amazing.
It's like a never-ending soap opera. So shout out to that division for keeping us interested and giving Octavia outstanding content.
I know. I appreciate it. It gives me lots to work with.
And then DC United, they fell last week in the knockout round to Columbus. But it's just, take a quick look at the season that was, the positives and negatives, what to look forward to. I had a great conversation with Russell Knaus after the loss to Columbus. So we're going to share that with you guys. And then after that, NBA shout-outs. I haven't done this consistently each and every week, and I'm going to consistently not do it every week. I'm going to do it every once in a while as I see fit. Just to share with you guys a couple guys who I feel like, showing out, need some credit, don't feel like they're getting enough shine for their current level of play at that moment, or kind of for us, I guess, during the week that was. I guess is the safest way to say that. Then even with Cardell not here, we're going to finish up with rapid fire, so I will do my best. I know I'm going to fall short because I don't know how he does this each and every week. So again, lower your standards. We're going to do our best. But all right, with the Washington Wizards, they snapped a 5-game slide with a win over the New York Knicks. It was a much-needed win for Washington, and the way they did it, I guess, was the most refreshing part to me. We have been talking week after week about defense and the issue it has been, the struggle has been for this team to play well on that end of the floor, to commit to doing so for long stretches. And, against the Knicks, yeah, I know some people might say, okay, it's the Knicks. One thing about the Knicks I will tell you under Coach Fizdale, they play extremely hard. They don't quit. That Knicks DNA thing, they take pride in that. They got a couple young players that they're not ducking any wreck on any level. Mm-mm. They enjoy it. You got the DMV native Alonzo Trier. You got the big youngin came from high school. Had a year he sat out. It came into the draft and he's making the most of his minutes with the Knicks. Obviously, Kristaps is out, their franchise guy. But what I can tell you is by the time Kristaps gets back, he should have an interesting team. It'll be a better team in terms of how they play than when he left. So I'm sure he's enjoying watching them just compete. And yeah, there's moments where they do young team stuff. That's fine, but they've been in games. So this is why I was happy with Washington's ability to defend, because the Knicks just don't go away no matter what happened. They lost Tim Hardaway early in the first half. Only played 24 minutes. Still, they refused to go away. Otto Porter missed the game with a toe injury. Kelly Oubre got the start. And one of the things that I want to give Kelly credit for was he not only did he get the start, but like instantly in the very first defensive possession of the game, he helped set the tone defensively by getting a steal, passed it to John, starting the game on a good fit from that side of the floor. And then it was infectious from that point on. I want to credit both John Wall and Bradley Beal for using their athletic gifts on the defensive end, which is kind of all we really wanted to see consistently this year. Mm-hmm. And you got a glimpse of that. Again, I understand it's the Knicks, but when you're trying to climb out of a hole, it's one foot in front of the other. So
yeah, you got to beat those teams.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. In this next stretch, they're playing a lot of teams that are under 500. So it's good to see that they were playing defense. The other thing that stood out was Dwight Howard doesn't currently have his lift, which he openly admitted in that post-game session with the media, but he's still a force on both ends. You could hear him from where we were sitting. You could hear him, few rows up, anchoring the defense, making sure there's communication. I feel like it's a different vibe knowing that he's back there, and I think the perimeter players will continue to get used to the fact that, if they do get by you, you press up, if they do get by, there's a little bit of trepidation knowing that that's sitting right there waiting for you, where in the past, when they get downhill, depending on who's down there, they're trying to finish things. There's no fear. Right. There's no hesitation. Right. So Dwight had 10 and 10. Again, he's still trying to get his lift back. But another thing I like with Dwight, we saw a little bit of just the Wall Howard screen and roll. And it was fun. Obviously, like I said, Dwight not having his lift. So it's not like he's going up top and then throwing this thing down. But it's affecting the defense because you have to respect him rolling. You also got to worry about John getting downhill. John took advantage of that and just started kind of picking apart the defense late in the game. And it was just a good look. Also credit Markieff Morris. He didn't shoot it particularly well, but he did a little bit of everything. He finished with 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 blocks. Back to Wall and Beal. They led 26 points for Wall, 22 for Beal. But again, defensively, Beal had 4 blocks, the biggest of which came on a great rotation. He rotated down from the wing and pinned Mitchell Robinson's layup attempt to the glass. Wall had 5 steals, I believe 3 in the first quarter. Again, it's just the little things, to look forward and build on. The other part of this, Scott Brooks, the much maligned, a lot of people aren't fans of that all-second unit lineup we've seen several times this year. It looks like that's a thing of the past. Instead, what he was doing was he was staggering, like most teams do, a starter or two on the floor with some of the second unit guys. And Jan Mahinmi, maybe it was just a game, we'll see tonight, and as they're on this as they're on this 3-game road trip, if he's really out the rotation, or was it just a day? Jason Smith only played 5 minutes, part of which I personally think was only because Dwight had 4 fouls, because it looked like the alternative to bringing in Jason and Jan was we'll play with Keith and Jeff at the 4-5, and just deal with that. He was also quick. He was quicker to call timeout. Instead of kind of trying to let them play through it and figure things out, the timeout buzzer was quick. They had moments where, crowd was getting into it, like Trier and Wall had a nice little back and forth when, on one instance, Wall lost the ball, Knicks were kind of making a run, quick timeout, like let's settle things down. Again, it's just one game, but it is definitely worth taking note of that the rotations did change. And as you tune in tonight, I believe their game starts against the Mavericks in about 15 minutes. To see, especially the rotation and defensively, just keep your eyes on that end of the floor. Not really worried about the offensive end. Right. Figure itself out, because when they get stops, they get out in transition, they have people that can run. And that's the least part. It's the defensive end of the floor. That's a big thing for the Wizards, is they wish to climb up out this hole. So again, tonight's the first of a 3-game road trip. Then they come back, they got a couple games at home, then they go back on the road. So they're 2-7 right now. They got a chance if they handle business against some of these under 500 teams. They're back to 0-0. And the good thing in the East at the moment, nobody's really taking great advantage outside of two teams of the start of the season. So, again, the only way this becomes an issue is they come back from this road trip, less than expected. And then that's a whole different thing. But as of right now, everyone's being patient. It's all about the defensive end of the floor. All right, so the Go-Go, Capital City Go-Go, had their season opener over the weekend. That was fun to go to. It was cool seeing the G League in action. They played the Greensboro Swarm. That's the Hornets G League affiliate. They fell 107-105 in overtime. Chason Randall, Devin Robinson really showed out. Chason Randall had 37 points, I believe. Devin Robinson had 24 and 10. Devontae Graham for the Greensboro Swarm. He went off late in the game. That was kind of the difference. Really quiet in the first half. I believe he finished with 31, all of which felt like it came literally in the fourth and extra period. Head over to finestmag@mymotorsports.com for just, take time to check the recap out there. But before we head to break, you can hear from what head coach Jarrell Christian had to say to the media after, the season opener. So again, up next is Jarrell Christian. Going to take a quick break, and when we come back, you're going to hear from Russell Knaus and then talk a little bit DC United. You're watching the Focus TV.
Poorly executed on my behalf. We have to be better in those situations. Obviously, it's early in the year. We would have liked to got a better shot than that, but I take full responsibility for that one. I have to be better in practice. I got to better prepare our guys for situations like that.
What was the exact play call? What were you looking for to get from that play?
Yeah, it was basically going to be a catch and shoot for a guy coming off. If that wasn't available, we would have had a big guy getting a catch in between the three-point line, able to make a better decision there. But again, poorly executed. That's all on me.
Talk about number 4's ability to run your show. You got some good offense.
Yeah, he's a special player. He plays with a lot of pace, and that's kind of his whole thing. We want to play with pace. We want to play up tempo. But in order to do that, you got to get stops, and it starts with defense. I didn't think we got enough stops, consecutive stops, and that kind of hindered us in the half court.
Chason scored 37. What did you like for him tonight?
Chason scored 37. Wow. Okay. I did not know that. Obviously he was plagued by a little bit of foul trouble there. And I think that kind of messed up our flow as a team. He's a guy that can go get a basket if we need it. He's a guy that can get into the paint, create for his teammates. So we missed that for a little bit of the fourth there. But he's a special player, as you guys can see. He's got several experiences, whether it's overseas, whether it's at different locations in the G League or the NBA. So he's definitely one of the leaders in our squad.
Is someone who you see as better off the ball? Looked like when you brought Keels in there, things just kind of freed up for him to make plays.
Yeah, I love that. I love both of those guys in the game. It's not necessarily one guy has to dominate the ball, but I think they both make opportunities for each other. If you saw tonight, Chioza had a lot of open threes, and that was a lot of times because our other guards, our other playmakers are getting to the paint, getting the defense to commit to them, and now they're kicking it out. I thought we got great looks majority of the game. We just have to do a better job of just making some of the open shots.
Coach, you have a player in Taiwan who's in college. He's known a lot for his scoring. He struggled from the field today. Was there any positive you can get out of this, or what did you see from his play today?
I love Taiwan. He's a guy that's going to put his head down, he's going to drive, and he's going to attack. One of the things that he did really well in college was getting to the free throw line. So he's still kind of adjusting to some of the physicality. But that's his bread and butter, putting his head down, being able to get a bucket. And that's what he does. So that's what we're going to lean on him to do this year.
I know the end result wasn't what you wanted, but what was it like for you to be out there just to get your first head coaching gig out of the way?
I'm glad it's out of the way. It was a good experience. Obviously we had a great crowd here. So I just want to thank the community, the folks in the DMV for coming out and supporting us on our home opener, our season opener of an inaugural season. So I can't thank them enough. The crowd was electric. We got a lot of energy from them. I just hope they can come back and provide that same energy.
What did you like about Devin Robinson's game?
He's fearless. He doesn't care who's in there. He's going to try to go up with two hands. He's going to try to dunk some things on some people. I just want him to continue to be aggressive. A lot of times in this new age basketball, a lot of guys can settle for threes. So we're just trying to keep it in his ear. Your bread and butter is getting downhill, playing with the head of steam, and finishing at the rim.
The point guard is kind of the extension of the coach on the floor. What did you see from Chris tonight as far as his ability to kind of lead the team? He had 10 assists, and he also was rebounding, but also trying to balance him being aggressive and also looking for his shot too.
Yeah, that's a thing that's tough for a lot of rookies at times. Is trying to figure out that balance. Obviously, as we go through this season, he'll figure out little pockets of opportunity where he can be more aggressive and we can assert himself a bit more. A little bit. But I just thought he did a great job of running the team, and that's what we're going to lean on him to do. His pace that he plays with, he gets into the paint, it's hard to keep him in front of you.
Is it fair to say at this point you guys are kind of searching for stuff to score, stuff that you can rely on, and how long will it take you to get to the point where you can expect a basket out of a certain set?
Yeah, I don't really necessarily think it's us searching for anything at this moment. We're still getting used to each other. We've only been playing together for 8 practices. So to put up to put up however many points we just put up, I'm impressed with our guys. And I just continue to hit them with space in the floor, getting to the paint, and playing basketball and making the extra pass. And I thought we did that for the majority of the game tonight.
Defensively, what do you think that you guys did well, and where do you think you guys could pick up?
Yeah, I thought we did a pretty good job of getting back in transition for the most part. Obviously, some of those live ball turnovers, it's tough to defend. But I thought we did a pretty good job of getting back and having our opponent play against a set defense. We got a lot of the little things mixed up off the ball, some pin downs, some staggers we got to clean up. But, again, that's the first game, 49 more. So we'll clean that up this week in practice.
And rebounding, you guys got a lot of rebounds. Was that a point that you wanted to make for the game plan?
Yeah, I think part of a good defense is being able to rebound the basketball. We emphasize guys going up to getting the basketball at its highest point, and I thought our guys did a great job of that.
Obviously not the way you guys wanted to end things. Is it hard at this moment to kind of take a step away and think about what you guys accomplished and how this can set a foundation to go forward?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you lose in penalty kicks, these elimination games are never fun. Our whole team put our hearts out on the field today, and obviously it came down to moments like that. So it's disappointing. I think it'll take a day or two to really sink in what we achieved this year. Obviously going from last place to where we ended up now, which was 4th, and being able to have this home game in front of our own fans. So very disappointing, but we can really be proud of how this year went.
All right, if you just talk about how special that partnership has been between you and Junior in the center of the park this year, and how that's played a big role. I don't think it got talked about nearly enough. With some of the more flashier things that's been happening for you guys.
I think that's been one of the foundations for this team. I have a great relationship with him off the field. We just gelled right away. Earlier in the year, we obviously had our struggles with injury, and we kept pushing ourselves through it, and that's kind of where the bond stemmed from. And it's been great ever since. And I'm just proud of the way he's played, and just being able to share the field with him has been amazing. So unlucky again tonight. I know he feels the same way, but our relationship is very strong.
All right, talking to Fred, he mentioned that you guys learned a lot about yourselves this year. Obviously, you personally with rehabbing from an injury. How much confidence does that give you guys going into next year that the way you guys play, you guys can continue to build on that?
Yeah, we know what kind of team we are. We have a lot of talent. We know we have a lot of fans here that push us to win. Strong home field advantage. We're a team when we have the right mentality and we are a positive attitude going into games, we can achieve anything. And I think next year we got to remember what we accomplished this year and basically go at it the same way at the start of the year, not halfway through the year. We need to start the year well and continue it throughout and put out consistent performances.
Lastly, what's this building meant to you guys, the atmosphere during that run, even tonight?
Yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have done it without the fans. This stadium atmosphere has been great. Tonight was unreal. Probably one of the best atmospheres I've been involved with. I'm putting that up there with some of the games I played with in Germany. So it was unreal, and I don't think we could have done it without them.
Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, again, with the Capital City Go-Go, I definitely implore you guys, if you get an opportunity, head down to that very, very nice arena over there by St. Elizabeth's and check that out. As far as DC United goes, if you guys been tuning in, all year long, obviously the season didn't end the way they wanted it to, but I like the vibe in the locker room. Obviously, I know everybody doesn't follow my accounts, but you should. The vibe, it was obviously there was disappointment, but it was just kind of like, I'm ready to get back at this. We're ready to get back at this. And it's kind of like, we just want to see what we can do with the clean slate, full year with this group, because now we know what this group's about. And that's the best part about it to me, is it's like they understand that there's a foundation that they really set this year, right? And they know they can build upon it, which makes that primary transfer window near the top, pretty much at the top of 2019, very, very interesting. Obviously, no team feels like they're complete. You're going to have a little bit more revenue. You just open the stadium. You got some coins right now. There's still room to add talent to the roster. You got a couple players that went down with season-ending injuries late. Neil Fisher, Kofi Opare. And I'm interested to see what they do, because within the last 2 years, for a team that's kind of known for that, that's been known for kind of being tight with their money, it's a really young team. They've, at least to me, I feel like they've done a solid job investing in young talent, and that young talent kind of showed this year once they got the catalyst, which happened to be the vet in Wayne Rooney and the return of Bill Meade. Obviously, the player Russell Canals doesn't get nearly enough credit. Him and his partner Junior Moreno in the center of the park did a great job all year. They really played a big role in why that team was able to be successful. Outside of the guys that made the headlines, deservedly so, of course, and Rooney, Acosta, Assad as well. So I'm looking forward to how they can improve, and I'm sure it's not going to be too much of a hard sell right now. You look at that stadium, it's a beautiful stadium. There's a lot of good talent on that roster, and I only feel like there's a few areas they really need to focus on, but I'm not going to spoil that for you guys now. So just to kind of look back, wind the clock back just a bit, I believe, so let's go back to July 5th. July 5th, the Black and Red finished up the last part of a road trip. That was essentially, that 4-month road trip. Told you guys about the beginning of the year. They had 2 games at home, but put an asterisk next to them because they were home away from home games. Because they didn't have a home yet. The home was they were still putting the finishing touches on what is now their fortress in Audi Field. So they finished up that road trip with the draw against LA Galaxy. Darren Maddox provided the equalizer. I believe Zoltan Steiber scored the first goal in that match. But from there, they were literally in last place on July 5th.
Right.
Literally in last place on July 5th. I was scouring the internet to try to find like a screenshot of the standings at that point. I was unsuccessful. I'm gonna try, and if I do find it, I'll put them up next week so you guys can see the difference side by side. If I can find it like monthly, I would love to, but it might be a struggle to do that. I wish I kept them now, but to watch that turnaround was crazy. You went from that hellacious trip, that ordeal at the beginning of the year, turning this all the way around. I would tell it, as we told you guys, the close up, I believe July 14th was the first game at Audi, that, the last 20 games of the season, DC United was going to play 15 of their 20 in their new home. They won 12 of those matches. 12 of the 15, they won. And that's how they closed the year. So I just want to give them credit. And again, I'm really optimistic, interested to see what they add to this group moving forward. But we're going to take a quick break. 9-4-50 breakdown with Jamal Hayward. This week, shout out to them, is the 24th installment. So, they're definitely putting these out at a pace. I did not realize this was the 24th. It feels like it's the 6th. And I really do enjoy it, just being part of the show, part of the rotation, knowing that this is part of what happens each and every week. Definitely look forward to it. I know our guy Travis does, and I hope, more than just Trav. I look forward to this portion of the show that Jamal puts so much work towards. So this week's move, breakdown of slide shot, which is used to avoid charges taken by help defenders on drives to the basket. It's pretty much how to avoid, getting the undesirable charge call while, making your way to the rim, and those pesky help defenders slide over to try to erase the ground you gain. So again, Jamal Hayward, 9-4-50 breakdown. This week's move, the breakdown of slide shot, which is used to avoid charges taken by help defenders on drives to the basket. When we return, we're going to come right out of that. It's Octavia's NFC East segment, so let the petty begin.
The slide shot today. This is a shot that helps you avoid the defender taking the charge from help side. So start from the rim here, attack the basket, 1, 2, slide shot. So this is going down, 1 dribble, 2nd dribble, gather, left, right, slide across. So as he's coming here, you take the charge, you slide across him to avoid the body contact, soft off the glass. The slide shot today. This is a shot that helps you avoid the defender taking the charge from help side. So start from the rim here, attack the basket, 1, 2, slide shot. So this is going down, 1 dribble, 2nd dribble, gather, left, right, slide across. So as he's coming here, you take the charge, you slide across him to avoid the body contact, soft off the glass.
Welcome back. Again, shout out to Jamal Hayward. Thank you so much every week for the 9-4-50 breakdown. So now, all you football fans that tune in each and every week, the portion of the show you look forward to, I'm sure, depending on what team you like. I don't know which part of the segment you like most, but I'm sure there's one part that you do if you're an NFC East fan. So I'll tell you, where are we starting this week?
Well, we're going to first start with the two teams that did not play.
Okay. So they couldn't lose, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And I'm sure that was great for the Giants. It's got rough out there. It's like... So the Giants and the Eagles were on a bye this week. Giants' next game is going to be Monday night against your 49ers. That should be another loss for them.
Wow.
I got faith in y'all. Big Mullins.
You just feel the Giants are that bad.
That too. I mean, unless Saquon can get out there and throw the ball to Odell, or Odell throw the ball to himself, or somebody blocks for it. I don't know. Something happens. But we're not talking about that this week. And then next week we have a divisional game with the Eagles versus the Cowboys as well. Okay, so we're going to start with the Cowboys, who are now 3-5, and they are 1-1 in the division. This week they played against Titans, which was last night, Monday night game. Fell to the Titans. Cowboys have 14, Titans 28. Like I said, their next game is going to be against the Eagles next week. Dak Prescott was 21 of 31, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble. He also had 2 carries for 11 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 17 carries for 61 yards, 4 receptions, and 51 yards for that. Newcomer Amari Cooper, 5 receptions, 58 yards, 1 touchdown. And Allen Hurns, 1 reception, 23 yards, 1 touchdown. To me, it was a lot of issues with them this week, in my opinion. I think the biggest issue was just they weren't capitalizing on the plays that they got. They spent a lot of time in the red zone, in the first half of the game, and they were either not able to come out with points at all or not able to come out with a touchdown. They would settle for a field goal. It's also worth noting that both kickers missed a field goal in this game. The Titans and the Cowboys kicker also did miss field goals in this game. So I guess they figured they canceled each other out.
Right.
But, it's just like, you're down there and you're not able to get those points, especially in a game that was very, very close in the beginning. Although the score was 28-14, it was 7-7 for a while. They were going back and forth with each other. So you have to get down when you get in those, those positions that you have to be able to score, and they just weren't able to do it every single time. And on the flip side, although the Titans weren't able to score every time they got in the red zone, they scored way more times than the Cowboys did when they were in the red zone as well. First look at Amari Cooper. He seems to be a good fit with them. You can see that they want to rely heavily on him, especially after giving up a first-round pick for him. And, they've already asserted him in. You can see the flashes of how he used to be. And to me, it was crazy. I was talking to my coworkers today as well. Not even realize Amari Cooper's only 24.
Yeah, it's...
You think about how well he did in the beginning when he was in Oakland. And then, with all the different coaches, staffs, and everything that's gone in and out of there, he kind of fell off, which is, understandable in that situation. But to still think now he's in a new situation where it can really benefit him. And he's only 24. So, it's still a great upside for him. I just think once he, gets a couple more practices under his belt, fully engaged and fully know the entire playbook, I think he'll be a good fit for them. Also, the Titans defense was amazing for some, they were everywhere. They held the Cowboys to only 72 yards rushing. Zeke only had 61, like I said. Dak had the other 11. It was pretty bad, to watch if you were a Cowboys fan. Their once stellar offensive line, it just didn't seem like they were opening enough holes or lanes for, the running backs to go through. They weren't really protecting Dak as much. Dak was sacked 5 times, although I will say not every single sack was their fault. A lot of it was Dak's fault as well. I think he held the ball a little bit too long on certain ones and just tried to do a little bit too much. And I just think that comes down to the pressure of the game. They knew there's a big difference, although it's one game, is a big difference from being 3-5 in the division and being 4-4, especially with the Cowboys' upcoming games that they have coming up now. They play the Eagles twice. They play the Redskins again. They have to play the Falcons. They play the Saints, all back to back. So they're going on a really hard stretch at this point, and being 4-4 would have put them in a better position than being in 3-5 currently. Right. So you could tell that was probably in the back of their mind. They just weren't able to get it done. Just like I said, the defense couldn't stop the run. They couldn't really stop them at all. The Titans were actually 11 of 14 on third downs
that's not good at all.
For the entire game. 11 of 14, and most of those third down conversions were third and long. They weren't 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. They were 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. So you can't win games like that at all. And with everything else going on in the game, not making field goals, everybody just wasn't on their game at this point. So they got to go back to the drawing board again next week. Hopefully we get the same result, just because they play the Eagles next week, but we shall see. And then the only lone other game in the NFC East this week was the Redskins versus the Falcons. Redskins are now 5-3. They're 2-0 on the division. Like I said, they played the Falcons. They fell to the Falcons 38-14. And their next game is going to be against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Alex Smith was 30 of 46, 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 carry.
Real quick, I'm so sorry. You said 46? He
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why.
Okay. I just want to make sure I heard.
He was 30 of 46, 306 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 1 carry for 22 yards as well. Adrian Peterson, 9 carries for 17 yards, 3 receptions and 16 yards. P. Ryan, 2 carries for 20 yards. Bibbs, 3 carries for 20 yards and 1 touchdown. Maurice Harris had 10 receptions, 124 yards, and Brennan Davis had 5 receptions for 62 yards. Now, Alex Smith does not usually throw that much, but their running game was non-existent. It was not there. Like I said, Adrian Peterson has been doing so well. He just wasn't really able to get his foot in and wasn't really able to get in the groove. 9 carries, 17 yards is not going to cut it, any which way. And I always say this, that if your starting quarterback has more rushing yards than your running backs, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Alex Smith had 1 carry for 22 yards, and he beat everybody. Peterson had 17 yards, P. Ryan had 20, Bibbs had 20. So you're never going to win like that. To add insult to injury, with the game, the Redskins lose 3 starters this week for the remaining of the season. Brandon Sheriff and Sean Laval, as well as wide receiver Paul Richardson, who was actually, just really starting to get, in my opinion, in the groove, starting, kind of feel back things.
All of those hurt so much.
Yeah, it hurts a lot, especially within the division, with them being on top of the division as of now and still have to go back, they still have to go play the Giants again. They still have to play the Cowboys again. They still have to play the Eagles twice. They haven't played us yet. So, still having to go through those games in the division and losing those players is going to be really, really hard for them. The Redskins' run defense was absolutely absent on Sunday. They did not show up for class. They skipped. It was just bad. The Falcons, who is 31st in the league in rushing, had 154 yards without Devontae Freeman, who was still injured, and with the shared load for Ito Smith and Tevin Coleman, who they made it look easy. It was an all-around bad game every which way you look at it, offensive, defensive, special teams, you throw them in it too. We just previously talked about how the Titans just converted 11 of 14 on third downs. The Falcons were actually, where'd it go? 10 of 13 on third downs for the entire game, and they were a perfect 8 for 8 in the first half. You have to. Your defense has to get off the field in situations like that. You're not going to, like I said previously, you're not going to win games like that. It's going to be a hard day for you if you're not able to get off the field, especially against, Matty Ice. You're used to seeing Devontae Freeman back there. He's not there. But you can never count on Julio Jones, who scored his first touchdown since, I believe, week 12 of last season.
Right.
So he had his bounce back game. There was too many penalties. I think they said Morgan Moses got a penalty when Brandon Sheriff got injured, and he was yelling at the ref about something and ended up getting a 15-yard unsportsmanlike penalty. So there were a lot of mental mistakes. You could tell they were frustrated. Being blown out 38-14 would do that. They have a chance to get back on track next week against the I call them the quarterback carousel, Tampa Bay Bucks. Because you never know who's going to play. So I hope they prepare for both, because you never know. Jameis is out as of now, but who knows what Fitzmagic will do during the game, and Jameis could be back in. Who knows? So, they have a chance next week to get, it back on the right foot, and they have a little bit of a lesser hard schedule. Let me see if I can grab that real quick. Their schedule isn't as tedious over the next couple of games like the Cowboys are.
Right.
But, in the division, you can't play. You have to, come every game ready to play. They play, I take that back. They got the Bucks next. They have the Texans after that.
Yeah, that's not fun.
They play the Cowboys after that. Hopefully the Cowboys think they'll probably be back. They want a rematch from the first game.
Right.
Then they play the they play the Eagles. They got a break with the Giants, but then they finish right back up with the Jaguars and the Titans, and then finish the season off with the Eagles again. So it's getting tough for them as well. So it's going to be a good second half of the season for both, for all the teams in the division. 3 of the teams in the division. So we will see what happens next week. Like I said, the Giants are on Monday Night Football prime time, we will see what happens next week. It's going to be something crazy again. I'm looking forward to see how well Amari Cooper gets, better into the offense. I'm interested to see how the Eagles come off of a bye after winning in London against the Jags, having that time off to regroup. I'm interested to see how Golden Tate is going to come out, coming over to a team that was on a bye, so you were able to get a little bit more time in to, study the playbook, figure out things, and, personnel and everything like that. I'm interested to see how the Redskins bounce back from the injuries, from just a horrible game all around. I feel like they had that earlier in the season. I can't remember who it was against. I think it was against the Cardinals. They lost to the Cardinals? It was somebody.
Yeah, the Cardinals was one of the.
It was when they played the Cardinals. It was just like bad, and it was like, whoa, yeah. Oh no, not the Cardinals. I'm sorry, the Colts. There we go.
Yeah, you're right.
It was the Colts.
They beat the Cardinals well.
Yeah, they beat and it was the Colts because it was just like, whoa, what happened? So, and then they came back after that and they beat the Packers. So, usually they're pretty good on bounce back games, so we'll see how it, shapes up. But them missing those 3 key starters is going to be tough for them. So I'm interested to see how they replace them as well.
Yeah, no, you're right. Man, with Dallas, the only thing I'd add was we're going to talk about it a little bit later. So I ain't going to, I'll wait a little bit on that. But all right, real quick, NBA shout-outs I had. Again, just a few players, within the last week, I feel like, they're may or may not be on everybody's radar, but we just need to go ahead and acknowledge them for what they're doing out here at the moment. The first being Kyle Lowry. Man, just pretty much 18 points a game. He's leading the league in assists at 11.5. 4.5 rebounds and 1.3 steals per game. He's shooting 50% from the floor and 40 from deep. In the past couple years, we're quick to talk about when Kyle Lowry's doing less than or not doing well. So I feel it's only right that when he's on a tear, I believe either tied or broke a franchise record with at least 10 assists in the first 9 games. Got to double check on that, but he's on one, and he's a big reason. Obviously, we're talking about Kawhi. There's a big reason why when Kawhi's not playing, that team's still rolling the way that they are. Another point guard up next, we got De'Aaron Fox. The Kings are above the line for like the first time in a long time. I believe they're 6-4. This is the engine. 18.6 points a game, 7.6 assists, and just under 5 boards. And most importantly for him, 1.3 steals a game. Just want to give him credit. He already had one crazy 30-point triple-double already. I got another one for you guys. I don't know if you're ready for this. JaVale McGee. So I'm not going to say, I'm going to take JaVale back. JaVale McGee, right? Because I can't even poke fun of him at the moment.
JaVale.
Nah, it's JaVale right now. It's JaVale right now. All right, so one of the few bright spots for LA during this slow start. Surprisingly, the much maligned McGee, like Kyle Lowry, when stuff's bad, we're quick to talk about it. And I'm just saying, as a whole, McGee takes a lot of stuff, social media-wise, memes. Just everyone got jokes when he's doing McGee-like things. But this year, the McGee-like thing, 14.4 points, 7.5 boards, and a league-leading 3. He's just under 3.5 blocks a game, right? Also, he's a 10th away from averaging 1 steal a game. Defensively from a center, obviously, you would love the rebounding to be up a little bit more, but he's protecting the rim. I mean, I don't know what else you want to ask for somebody. And secondly, he's playing more minutes than he played, consistently in Golden State. And it's crazy because you're talking about on LA, JaVale, obviously, if you look at the roster, if I asked anybody yesterday, today, an hour from now, who would be the guy you would think is just out there not doing, just
shacking the food?
He's not shacking, all right? All right, so another guy, and his name's making the waves now, but the Warriors. A lot of people talk about their bench, lack of depth, all that good stuff. Alfonso McKinney wants to hear none of that. We're talking about, Patrick McCall, now reporting back to the team, all that other stuff. Again, Alfonso McKinney said, I'm here, don't worry about this. On the surface, doesn't look like, he's doing a lot. But last night against Memphis, 14 points. He's 6'8", 200-pound wing, and they really might have found a gem. Last year when they had Omar Caspi, one of the things with Caspi, we're excited about what he could do, right? And he was very hesitant to shoot the ball. And with Golden State, the way they move the ball, the last thing you want is somebody outside of Drake. Even Draymond knows there's times when I got to put this thing up, right? And Caspi was just really hesitant at times during the year. McKinney doesn't have that. There's nothing in his head that says, maybe I should pass it. The kid's shooting 60% from 3, which if you're going to State, you'll love that. Another plus-size defender, so they might have really found another gem. So the rich get richer just by, old-fashioned scouting, things like that.
Development.
Boy.
He's probably been there for a long time. We ain't even know.
26 years old, made the team this year off of open draft.
Oh, wow. That tells you something right there, though.
Yeah. Been in the G League for a little bit. Want to give him the respect he deserves because I expect that 6.8 points. I think it'll go up as the season goes on. Lastly, Serge Ibaka.
Oh, yeah.
Man, haven't talked about this guy, it feels like the way we're about to talk about it right now, since like the OKC days.
Right.
In Toronto, formerly, the other version of Toronto, the previous version, he was averaging 12 points, 6 rebounds, 48% shooting, ho-hum, nothing too crazy. This year, 18 points, 7.5 boards, 1.3 blocks a game, and he's shooting 59 from the floor. So Serge, I don't know what happened, but again, him, Kyle, just a couple of the reasons why their record without Kawhi hasn't suffered. They went into LA, gave them a whipping. Kawhi watched.
I was like, I'm chilling.
Exactly. And, you know, there's you don't have that thing where you're like, hey, we need you back. Like, they got this under control. So I just want to give them some credit for what they've done so far this year. So now we're going to go on a rapid fire.
Yes.
All right, so Cardell, we're going to try this, all right? We're going to do our best. All right, so Jamal Murray, last night, 48 points. Dropped 48 points on what was then the number one, I believe the number one ranked defense in the league at that point, the Boston Celtics. So he tried to go for 50. Who wouldn't? He already had 48. So with about 30 seconds left, he shot not once but twice. And some Celtics were salty about it, a.k.a. Kyrie. He took the ball through in the stands, yada, yada, yada. So fair or foul, what do you feel about the young boy trying to get his 50?
Man, let him get his 50. His 2 points is not going to hurt y'all. Y'all deserve to see another 2 points. You saw 48 of them. What's 2 more going to do? I get it on the other side of it, you know, the sportsmanship of it and everything that everybody likes to talk about. But we always come back to say that this is a business. You know, this is not about, we're not friends in between these lines. I don't owe you nothing. You don't owe me nothing. If I want to go for 50, I'm going to try to go for 50. And I don't blame him. He's a young player. You know, he probably never even imagined being able to score that much, you know, in a game like that, and let alone be against the Celtics and let alone be against Kyrie. Kyrie is probably somebody he looked up to, you know, so I can understand it. I get both sides of it. I get they're salty. You should be salty. You lost. You let him score 48 points on you. So, I mean, 2 points is not going to hurt you. I think it was more of a childlike move to throw the ball into the stands. Like, it's like, I'm mad. You can't shoot anymore. You can't play with my ball anymore. I'm going home. Like, he done already played already. Like, yeah, where were y'all at the entire time? Okay.
I'm with you. You just got to, like, at this point, now you want to get mad?
You should have got mad when he was at, like, 20.
And if you were mad when he had 48, them 2 is not going to drastically change anything. Y'all were already getting... Sorry. So the Cowboys told you guys we're going to talk about this. Is it officially time for Garrett and company to get swept up out of their offices and whatnot? Go ahead. Oh, we're chucking deuces.
It is time to go. And I'm saying this as the most, like I'm being very, very unbiased. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm not even like, oh, yeah, they got to go. So, because if I really wanted to say they need to stay because they... I mean, what other coach outside of Jeff Fisher do you know that has had a head coach position this long and has one playoff win? One. He's been their coach for 9 years. He's basically this for real. With like some of y'all Raiders fans need to pay attention as well because this is what y'all about to be like. Because y'all know y'all got Gruden for 10 years, right? And this is year 1.
9 more.
You have 9 more of this. So you better hope that doesn't repeat itself. But they got to go. And to me, it's some type of collusion that he's still there. Like, how? If this was anybody else, like Jerry would have been done with it. And he's already come out publicly and said that he doesn't fear that he doesn't foresee there being any coaching change, any quarterback change for the remainder of the season and anything like that. But something's got to give. You know, you've already cut Dez, who is now apparently going to get a workout with the Saints.
Yeah.
You know, you've already cut Dez. You know, I don't know if that was like your scapegoat in the situation. But at this point, it's got to start at the head. Like, y'all have entirely too many talented players to be 3-5. To be 3-5 and to have one, let me say it one more time, one playoff win. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, a lot of people think that I'm on my high horse because my Eagles won last year. No,
nothing to do with this.
Not at all, because we have more than one playoff win in the past 10 years, though. I can tell you that.
It's still petty. Go ahead.
So this is not about that. This is about, like, you know, y'all talk about, yeah, we won championships and everything. It's been almost a decade. Y'all haven't gone further than what? And that one playoff win, I'm not for sure. It was probably a wild card. And then you lost the next one. I don't know. They got to go. Start the whole team over again. Take new tryouts, something. I don't know. Not new tryouts because I have good players, but.
And that's the part that's so crazy to me. If you look at the roster, like, you know, looking at my team that's rebuilding, right? You look at the roster, obviously we're missing players, but from a talent standpoint, they're like 2 years ahead of us.
Exactly.
You know, top to bottom is overall roster. And I'm looking at that, and I'm just like, and I talked to my cousin Just if you watch it, we talk about this quite a lot. Probably gonna give you a call afterwards because I'm gonna laugh about last night. The coaching is just trash.
It's
Play calling
horrible.
is so bad.
It's bad.
You talked about Zeke with his 61 yards, 6 carries in the second half for a team that relies on a run. It's asinine. It's horrible. I'm so sorry. That's just really, really bad. The other thing, you're in this age in the NFL where everything's kind of catered to what the offense is. How do you not take advantage of this stuff? Just don't understand. Should have been fired. It's just crazy to me. All right, so Chargers. Why are folks dismissing the Chargers when we talk about all these teams that are in contention in the NFL?
I think just because, to be honest, I really think it's because they just don't get enough attention. I think it's that a lot of people don't see them. I mean, a lot of people don't. If you're not a Chargers fan, a lot of people aren't watching Chargers games. Like, when's the last time you've seen a primetime Chargers game?
That's fair. No, that's fair.
So I think that's part of it, you know, because I'm going to be completely honest. I don't keep up with them as much as I probably should or want to. And it's really because you don't really see them. I don't know if it's because we're on the East Coast, they're on the West Coast. The West Coast people may see it more. I don't know. But, you know, and I think part of it is, you know, he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Phillip Rivers is a really good quarterback, but he's never been, like, I feel like sometimes it's hard for him to get over that hump. So a lot of people don't really believe in it all the time. Right. Just like how we used to look at, you know, how people look at the Raptors in the NBA. Like, the Raptors are a great team. They pay attention to them. And then you get all the way to the end and you're like,
you're just kind of tired of believing or not falling for it.
Exactly. So it's kind of like, you know, let me wait around a couple more games and see what happens. You know, but I mean, they definitely should, you know, get the attention that, you know, I'm gonna look on the
They're 6-2 right now. That's what I was asking. Like, they're 6-2 right now. The way they, like, it's winning football. I mean, they're playing good football, man. They're winning in Seattle, which I don't care how good Seattle is, what's going on. It's a tough place to play.
Exactly. It don't even matter how good the team is. The crowd gonna hurt you anyway.
It's just a tough place, and it's just like literally we just hear about the same like 4 or 5 teams, and they're 6-2. Like, bottom line, like them, hate them, whatever. Look at the standings. They're 6-2. All right. So before we get out of here, currently at this point in the NFL season, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees. You would imagine those 3 names, top 5 in passing yards. They are not. None of them are in the top 5.
Patrick Mahomes.
Look, you already knew number 1 off top, right?
Come on, man.
So,
like, who doesn't?
Aaron Rodgers, Brady, and Brees, the way I listed them, they're currently 6th, 7th, and 12th, respectively. Do they all end up outside the top 5 by the end of the year? Do they finish this? Do they end up in around the same area? Do they crack their top 5? And currently, just to give you a little bit of background before we out of here, their top 5 is currently Pat Mahomes, he's at 2,900 yards. Jared Goff, 2,800 yards. Matt Ryan, 2,685. Kirk Cousins, 2,685. Big Ben at 2,560.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
Because you can never count Brady out. You said Brady is 12?
No, Breeze is 12.
Okay. Brady is what, 5 or 6?
7th. And Aaron is 6. Yeah.
I believe Brady will get in, and I believe Rodgers will get in. I don't think Drew will, just because he's kind of far back. And those first 2 names, Pat Mahomes and Jared Goff, they ain't playing no games this year.
Okay, so you don't think that's crazy for them too?
No, I think they'll stay because they have really good pieces around them as well. Now, I can't even say with Drew, because I was like, you know, if Dez sneak in there, but it's still Dez, it's old Dez. It depends on if
2 running backs, so it's like this.
Exactly, right. But you can't count Brady out. Like, I can't do it. I just feel like once Josh Gordon really gets his footing, and, you know, Gronk didn't play last game. Edelman is just like really starting to get back into the groove of thing and everything. And once that tail end of the season comes up, they don't play no games.
All right, so you got Brady and Rodgers sneaking in there.
Yeah, I got Ryan and Matt Ryan will probably fall out, and
Big Ben
will probably fall out.
So I think currently as constructed, the only spot that will be available is Big Ben. I only think one of them will get in. I think Kirk's going to keep throwing because you're throwing to Thielen. He's leading the league in yards to safe throws to him, and he's going to keep catching them. And they throw a lot. I think the only spot's available is Big Ben, and I actually think I'm kind of with you. I think Brady's going to get it. So, But we want to thank you guys for tuning in each and every week. As always, we're going to catch you guys next week, same time, same place. This Focus TV. Get over to finestmag.com, amanosports.com. Current update with the Wizards. They're down 22-15 in the first quarter to the Dallas Mavericks. See you guys next week.